Good evening. National Security Advisor Eduardo Años says Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez's call urging the armed forces to withdraw support from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is illegal, unconstitutional, and seditious. In a statement, Año criticizes the remarks and actions of Alvarez, who is a Navy reservist with a rank of colonel. Año says that any call for withdrawal of support by a public official, especially a high-ranking reservist officer, is illegal and unconstitutional. Año adds that such utterances and actions can be interpreted as seditious or rebellious, and that such remarks have no place in the society. Año further says that Alvarez underestimated the professionalism and integrity of the armed forces of the Philippines by making such an appeal. During a rally in Tagum City on April 14, Alvarez urged the AFP to peacefully withdraw their support to Marcos to avert a possible war in the West Philippine Sea. He said a war between China and the Philippines would result in countless of dead bodies, unimaginable destruction, famine, and hunger. However, the AFP dismissed Alvarez's call and vowed loyalty to the Constitution and chain of command. According to Alvarez, his speech at the rally could neither be considered seditious nor a manifestation of disorderly conduct because it was protected by the Freedom of Speech Clause of the 1987 Constitution. The Philippine National Police clarifies that only around 1.4 tons or 9.68 billion pesos worth of shabu or crystal meth was seized by its personnel in Alitagtag town in Batangas province on April 15. In a phone interview, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo says that the figure earlier reported by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency was just an estimate. Fajardo adds that after the inventory on April 16, it turned out that official count of illegal drugs that were seized is at 1.4 tons. Fajardo further says that the released figure from the Batangas police was not a corrected version, as she shuts down any implication that the confiscated narcotics might have already been lessened. Fajardo discloses that the PNP conducted the counting of drugs for 2 days since it was intercepted. Meanwhile, the PDEA testing confirmed that the narcotics were indeed shabu. Based on a police report, a male suspect, which the authorities identified as Al, was arrested during the checkpoint operation and already underwent inquest proceedings on Tuesday after he was charged with violating Section 5, Article 2 of the Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002. Fajardo also says that the seized illegal drugs are now under the custody of PDEA, while the suspect is in detention at Batangas Police Provincial Office. Following the results of the official count, records showed that the 9.68 billion pesos drug bust is the second biggest drug haul after the confiscation of 11 billion pesos worth of shabu found in 1,589 tea bags seized in Infanta Quezon Province last March 2022. China's alleged recruitment of Filipino military and police personnel must be investigated, according to lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc of the House of Representatives. The Makabayan bloc, which is led by House Deputy Minority Leader and ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro, files House Resolution number 1682, which asks the House Committee on National Defense and Safety to handle the probe. Aside from the alleged China's recruitment of Filipino military and police personnel, the bloc adds that the reported existence of Chinese sleeper cells or secretive groups on standby to conduct infiltration and intervention activities in the country must also be looked into. According to the resolution, the incidents are serious matters of national security, especially amid the intensifying Chinese aggression in the West Philippine Sea and the warmongering of the United States. It also states that there seems to be a serious problem with the AFP itself, since its members are being attracted and/or recruited by the foreign-based firms who are claiming to be affiliated with the foreign military. On April 8, the Department of National Defense ordered the AFP to investigate a strange recruitment effort of part-time military consultants traced to China. 2 days later, the AFP considered the online recruitment scheme a national security concern, noting that an effort could have been made to obtain data from the Philippine Armed Forces. Meanwhile, the existence of Chinese sleeper cells in the Philippines was reported last year. The Chinese embassy in Manila denied it, but the Philippine National Police said these cells are being operated by foreigners, mainly Chinese and Taiwanese nationals. The Supreme Court rules that the Commission on Elections gravely abused its discretion when it disqualified Smartmatic Corporation from participating in the bidding for the 17.9 billion pesos automated election system contract for the 2025 national and local elections. According to Supreme Court spokesperson Camille Ting, Comelec committed grave abuse of discretion when it disqualified Smartmatic before it submitted any bids without any reference to the eligibility requirements prescribed by its Bids and Awards Committee. Smartmatic received an invitation from Comelec to attend the Election and Procurement Summit for the 2025 elections. The company then purchased the bidding documents and participated in the pre-bid conference. However, Comelec disqualified Smartmatic from taking part in all bids on its procurement processes, citing issues hounding Smartmatic. The High Court's ruling, however, made no mention of the 17.9 billion peso contract that Comelec inked last month with a joint venture led by South Korea's Miru Systems. Ting says that the validity of Miru's contract with Comelec was not the issue presented in the case before the Supreme Court. According to the Supreme Court, it did not nullify the contract awarded to Miru, citing equity, justice, practicality, and the doctrine of operative fact. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority says it will coordinate with other agencies on the apprehension of drivers of public utility vehicles that are still unconsolidated after the April 30 deadline. In a press briefing, MMDA Chairman Romando Artes says that he will have a discussion with the government agencies for a possible joint operations in apprehending colorum and unconsolidated vehicles. The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board says that 8% of PUVs have consolidated as of March, which is the first step in the PUV modernization program of the government. The LTFRB adds that franchises of the unconsolidated vehicles after the April 30 deadline will be revoked. Some transport groups have expressed dismay and organized transport strikes to protest the deadline on April 30. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año says Representative Pantaleon Alvarez's call urging the armed forces to withdraw support from President Marcos is illegal, unconstitutional, and seditious. Senate's arrest order against Apollo Quiboloy stands, according to the Supreme Court. Upper Chamber's comments on Quiboloy's petition sought. And Supreme Court rules Comelec gravely abused its discretion when it disqualified Smartmatic Corporation. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.